recording? Okay, it's recording. Okay, I got my 4 adults on this. Imagine you have a family member or a child is being abused. My family never knew I was being abused. I almost died. Now my family didn't know until I ended up calling the police, and I called my mother, and then she knew. Domestic violence is a silent killer behind closed doors. I was in a domestic violence relationship for over a year. I did all of my research by myself. First, the red flags of domestic violence is what I'll talk about first. Second, I'll talk about the support systems for victims. And finally, I'll discuss how abusers keep victims silent. The red flags of domestic violence. Control is a very big red flag of domestic violence. Domestic violence, one person will use a tactic of control and power over the victim. As stated by Powell, 2019, Red Flags of Domestic Violence. Isolation is another form of control and a red flag of domestic violence. It will control the victim, limiting their talking to, seeing, being around anyone, family and friends. Jealousy, assuming that they are doing other things behind their back. As stated by Pence, Paymar, and McDonald in 2019, Power, I don't know that word, and Khan in Domestic Violence in America. Mental abuse is another form of domestic violence. The empirical evidence of social and emotional inflicted, there is intrapersonal, interpersonal, and social factors. Intrapersonal is influenced by 2 factors: the damage to the victim by the domestic violence and victimization of self, efficacy, and hopelessness. As stated by Sullivan in the 2017 Understanding How Domestic Violence Support Systems Promote Survivor Well-Being, a conceptual model, published, Journal, Families Violence. Put downs, name calling, making them feel crazy, making them feel unwanted, unloved, playing mind games with their heads, and making them feel guilty are all other examples. Support systems for victims. Therapy is one way that victims can get support systems. There's 18,500,000 mental health visits each year for domestic violence victims. Victims need a safe place, such as a home of family or friends. They also need an unbiased person to listen to them, such as therapists. And with friends and family as a support system. Today, women of domestic violence have the Family Justice Center, Domestic Violence Court, Visitor Center, and more knowledge from judges and lawyers. As stated by Brickman in 2016, the victims of domestic violence need greater support systems. Recognizing domestic violence and victims, they will be more withdrawn, not wanting to associate with anyone. Injuries, either bruises, marks, or they were fearful of anyone in their household. Victims, as stated by Davidson in the 2019 How to Help Victims of Domestic Violence. Ways that abusers keep victims silent. Physical. 1 out of 4 women and 1 out of 7 men are abused each year by their partners. They are aggressive, belittling, and violent, as stated by Smith and Segal in the 2019 Domestic Violence and Abuse. Violators will use your children against you. Children that are witnesses to violence will have psychological and emotional and are more aggressive and can be more fearful. They can have anxiety, depression, and other symptoms of traumatic base, as stated by Edelson in the 1999 Problems Associated with Children Witnessing Domestic Violence. Physical abuse or neglected children is a rate of 1,500% higher than the general population, as stated by Edelson in the 1999 Problems Associated with Children Witnessing Domestic Violence. So first I stated the red flags of an abuser, then I had explained the support systems for a victim, and finally how abusers keep victims silent. Domestic violence, the silent killer behind closed doors. There's a song called Face Down by the Jumpsuit Apparatus. This is from the viewpoint of a concerned family or friend. Domestic violence is a problem. I lived with it and survived. Victims normally don't know where to go or how to stop the violence. Shatter the silence, stop domestic violence.
Yay!